Hey, Scar Not Silent. It's Rodney G here, and I'm outside. I decided to go outside under a canopy, and I've had to record this a couple of times, so by now, I think the devil's sitting across from me waiting for an interview, and I'm sweating, so I better speed this up. Or I could go back in the house. I always tell people there's options, so I could go back in the house too. But all in all, it's not too bad in the shade, but I keep dripping. I think I'm ready to get inside the house. But we're here for season 2, and that's amazing. And I've been having a lot of people following me, and I'm seeing growth in the podcast. So that's also encouraging. And if you need encouragement or a conversation, you're just trying to figure out how to get by day to day, you feel free to contact me. I have the information there. You could call me. I think I have the phone number on there too. I'm not trying to just give it all out right now, but you can contact me at scarrednotsilent@gmail.com. And that's how you can get a hold of me for whatever you need. So when we left off with season 1, we was talking about the transition to San Diego and how much I love San Diego. And I probably wouldn't be sweating and looking at the devil over here still asking me for interviews. So the decision was to go to San Diego. I found a position there, and we did several visits before. Well, we did 2 visits, really. We did 1 visit to check Airbnbs out and meet the administrator of the nursing home and the other program managers and staff. Also, it was a time for my wife and I to check the areas of San Diego out. We really didn't have any educated decisions of San Diego outside of getting to the beaches. I think downtown was probably familiar with because we had a friend that lived downtown in San Diego. But other than that, we really didn't know the certain parts of towns to live in. And we was going to start with this plan. We was going to look into doing Airbnbs. And I say we, more specifically myself. She was going to go back to Tucson and remain in the house until I got stabled in San Diego. And the first trip, I think we looked at a couple of places and we met a few people, and there was only one that was really a serious contender, and it was a nice older couple. I believe they had an extension to their house that they made into a room, and then if you wanted to cook, I had like opportunity to go outside in this little area where there was a hot pad, and I could cook out there, and then I think I could store some of my food inside the refrigerator. So I would kind of have to walk in their house and get my food. And so for me, being an introvert, that was too much. I could not vision handling that. But the price was right and the location was awesome. The house was wonderful. It was in a cul-de-sac, so not a whole lot of traffic. Public transportation was accessible, which I needed because I don't drive. Although I just couldn't do it. I could not walk in these people's home, get my groceries, and cook on a hot pad. And then when I wanted to, I just bring the dishes in and set them in there, and they would clean them. And I thought, no, I can't do this. So that didn't work out. More of my being, like I said, being an introvert, it didn't work out. For them, it probably would have worked out because we got along really well there. Then the second time, because was the commitment stage. I had already committed to the position, and my wife had already did the legwork to call and she called and made appointments for the Airbnbs. So there was 3 Airbnbs that I went to. There was 2 Airbnbs that I was scheduled to go to. And the first was in University Heights. And they had a nice home, but they had like 4 granny flats in their backyard. And if you don't know, San Diego has now given people, at the time I was there anyway, given people opportunities to build these homes in their backyard, and they call them granny flats, grandma quarters, and they might have different names too. So the city has about 4 or 5 floor plans that you can use, and then you take that floor plan and you build these homes or a home in your backyard, and you get a tax break, and it helps the city out because it's supposed to help cure some of the homelessness or housing issues in San Diego. Also, it's supposed to benefit the owners because they get this tax break as well. Plus, they get the income from the rental property. So this person had 4 homes. They had a bigger home for their son who stayed there. I swear to you, it had to be about 350 square foot place that I was in. And not to mention that I already was coming in with a cycler, which was my dialysis machine, which is already big and clunky. I think I had about 10 boxes already in the car, and plus all my other baggage and medical equipment. And that took out a lot of the spacing inside the home. But this was only I think I only did this one for about 2 or 3 weeks. And in between, I had to leave to go to another place because the owners had already had an arrangement made for another person to do their Airbnb stay for a week. So I had to figure out, well, we already had to figure it out, but I had to relocate. And I went to downtown right by Little Italy. There was we have a friend who's no longer there. She was going to be gone, and I was able to stay there for that week. And it was like a high rise. And that sounds beautiful, but the problem is I'm going to have to get my equipment to the high rise and up the high rise. So when it was my time to finally leave for that week from the little granny flat, I had to take all of my dialysis boxes and hold them to the front yard of these people's yard, along with my baggage, my dialysis machine, everything had to be out of this home. And I had it in the front yard, and I was waiting for a Uber driver. And then I had to get the Uber that had the like SUV Uber. So obviously that's going to cost more money. And it was getting dark at the time. And I'm just sitting in this neighborhood with all my equipment out there looking like I was evicted. And in my head, I was just getting anxious because I'm like, these poor people are going to see all my equipment out here in the yard. The neighbors looking out here, and the Uber driver was taking forever. And they finally got there. Now, amazing thing happened, which I was not expecting. The Uber driver got out of the car and helped move my equipment into the car with me. I had no idea this was going to happen. They got out the car and moved this equipment. And I'm talking like these boxes are, I would say, I might be exaggerating, but I feel like the fluids about, I would say, have to be more than 15 pounds a piece. Like I said, I might be exaggerating, but in the boxes, it feels so much heavier. And I had at least, I would say 15 boxes or more with me at that time. But they helped me. They got out of the car and helped pack it up. Now, here's the kicker. Once I got to this high riser, there was a code system. And now I'm freaking out in my head because I was like, I don't want to leave this door open in downtown San Diego and have to haul all of my stuff into the lobby. Nobody goes in here that doesn't belong in there. But backing up, the other issue was once I get to there, I had to unload my equipment in this apartment. Right outside of it, there's like a little brick wall, like a cove, I would say. It kind of blocks a certain area and then it opens up so you can walk behind the wall and then go into the doorway. So the Uber driver helped carry those boxes into that little area. And at that time I said, I'm good. You could, leave them here because obviously this man had a job to do and he was going above and beyond at this point. So in order for me to feel comfortable about this door to the lobby, I would put one box in front of the door. I would carry 2 boxes at a time and set them further in the lobby by the elevator, which they had some seats there. So I would set my boxes there and I would carry them in 2 at a time. And before the last one, I would kick in the last box that was holding the door so the door could close, then go back and pick that box up and move it all. I basically had this same pile sitting in the lobby of this beautiful apartment. And my next task was to get all of this on the elevator to get up to the room. And I can't remember what story. She was pretty high up because I could see the ocean from her balcony. What I decided to do was to just carry much as I could into the elevator and then go up and then walk down the hallway around the corner, open up the door and put in the equipment. I think it took me about 45 minutes to get this all done. And this is on dialysis. I'm on dialysis still too. So it was a lot of work just to move into that, to have those boxes, to carry your machine to carry your luggage. And also at the time, I was the mental part with people just looking at me with all this equipment and on the elevator, I'm holding these boxes and sweating. Started kind of getting to me, but I had to keep pushing through either way. And finally, I got it all done. And I stayed there for about a week, and I was able to decompress in Little Italy. I had started working, but as for another segment, right now, just being stable with housing was an issue. And then once you have time to breathe and your decision starts to sink in, like, is this the right decision? And I had a coworker from my previous job who I spoke to all the time. She's a receptionist there. She was a receptionist there. Sometimes on my breaks, I would make a stop and talk to her. And we got like a real bond, like for a while, like a brother-sister bond, really. And I believe I called her and just was like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know is this crazy? Like, I'm by myself here and I'm having to move all this equipment here and I'm just exhausted. She really just kind of reassured me that everything will be all right, put it in God's hands and everything will work out. She was there to talk to during that time. Also, my best friend, he was there when I had those times to gripe, and also my brother, he was able, I was able to talk to him. So I had a support system, and it's not even, my wife is always my wife. So she's always there for me. So that's why I didn't necessarily mention, but so she's always encouraging too. So I had a support system there. However, still, it's just difficult to realize you're not stable, you're on dialysis, and you figure it out. Eventually, my week was up at Little Italy. Great pizza, Felipe's, I think his name was the pizza place. I think I ate 2 days off of one like deep dish style pizza there. It was so thick and cheesy. I just literally think I had 2 days of eating that pizza while I was in Little Italy. Felipe's, I believe it was called. So good, so good. I'm not getting paid for that plug, but if anybody know about Felipe's in San Diego, tell them to send me a nice pie. And my week came up quickly. And living in downtown San Diego, I had total access to everything. It was stores and restaurants and public transportation, so that made it real convenient, especially going to work, just to catch the trolley and then transfer to a bus and just be at work. So that made it real convenient in that aspect. But that would change because I would have to go back to the grandma flat in University Heights. At that time, I had my equipment or my boxes was already delivered to that house, that location. So the son that stayed in there, he took those into his place. And once I got there, I had to go over there and knock on the door. He helped me also to bring my boxes into the other granny flat, which I appreciated so much because it wasn't expected. We didn't really have a conversation too much. We talked a little bit. He had a DJ system set up and we kind of talked about that. That was always like my dream, was to be a DJ. I had a lot of dreams, but my main dreams, I thought was going to be like a real live DJ, like scratching it on, not like a radio DJ. So it was kind of cool to see how to set up, but we really didn't connect on that level. We brought him in and that was pretty much it. I would sit in my little granny flat, go to work, and maybe take the bus or take the trolley around town and continue. It's going to get better just throughout the season. It's just the transplant portion and the move to San Diego is crazy. I thank you for staying here. And like I always like to leave you with, if you wake up, you have a purpose. Bye.